How's it going there, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Pyrotoz, aka Tommy. Today we're going to be covering Appletun, the grass dragon type, a very nice typing there, offensively and defensively speaking. This thing is one of two evolutions from Appletun. You have this and Flapple. I'm going to cover that a little bit later. I just thought we'd start with this big chunky apple boy, Appletun. So if you look at its base stats, obviously the HP and the respectable defensive stats lend it to a more defensive kind of Pokemon, especially with Ripen and Gluttony and Thick Fat as the abilities. Ripen, by the way, is a new ability which doubles the effectiveness of an eaten berry. So for example, a citrus berry will recover 50% of your HP as opposed to 25%. So pretty nice. So obviously the HP and defense stats allow it to take hits very easily. The offensive stats are actually higher though, so if you like, you can run a more offensive set and still live hits. Really just lacking in terms of coverage. On the special side, it doesn't get, Flamethrower, for example, as many dragons do, or Earth Power, for example. But I guess it kind of makes up for it in the fact that it has some nice support moves. So it has Recover, it has Leech Seed, it has Recycle for its berry-related abilities, and of course Dual Screens. So, first set I'm going to cover here is going to be an offensive set. We're going to run a Choice Specs Appletun. Base 100 special attack is not the greatest, but it's still pretty good. And you have Stab Draco Meteor, so that always does a lot of damage. So obviously, max HP, max special attack, a little crumb of speed, because why not, for other Appletun, I guess. Thick Fat, because you have no berry, it's pointless running anything else. Thick Fat's also nice for taking the ice moves better. So you're not going to take a powerful Stab Ice Beam, for example. But if you're talking about a defensive Water type, for example, that's running Ice Beam as coverage, it'll make it only double effective as opposed to quad effective. So in most cases, you'll probably live that. But here's the set. Draco, Giga Drain, or Apple Acid. I'll come back to that in a sec. Dragon Pulse and Recover. Like I said, it doesn't really get any coverage, so you're basically limited to stab moves here. That said, having the Stab Draco Meteor, which hits most stuff neutrally, is very powerful. You can still do a lot of damage and break some walls. Also, its signature move, Apple Acid, is quite nice because it has a 100% chance to lower Special D by 1 point. And it's 80 base power. So you can do some nice damage, obviously stab 80 base power, and also reduce their stats. So if they switch in some kind of bulky war like a Toxapex, I'm going to reference Toxapex a couple of times in this video because I think it's important. You can lower its special D and just keep pummeling away and gradually doing more damage, right? It's a very nice move. Recover, for lack of a better move, right? Maybe you want to run Rest or Hyper Beam if you're a Maniac. Just something like that to fill the last move. I personally go for Recover because you can force a lot of switches and you can take the chance to recover up. But, pretty nice set nonetheless, despite not having the coverage. Next set I'm going to show you guys is a Curse set. So its physical attack is nothing to be sniffed at either. So it's going to be Recover, Curse, Seed Bomb, and either Earthquake or Outrage. I personally would go with Earthquake because I don't particularly like Outrage and being locked into it. But it's fine, it's a good stab move, it's nice and powerful. So you got Recover and Curse there, obviously means that you don't have to run Rest Sleep Talk. You can try and avoid burns where possible and, maybe have some support on your team like Heal Bell. But with the Curse and the max special D investment, you're going to be taking a lot of hits. And it's pretty decent defensive typing, apart from obviously the crippling ice weakness. And the main thing really you're leveraging with this set is the very nice base HP stat, which is 110. So, get your setups going, do some massive damage with Seed Bomb, and then either Earthquake for like fire and steel types, or poisons for example. The reason some people wouldn't want to go for Earthquake is because you're completely at the mercy of other grass types, or flying types. So I'll leave that up to you. I'm just going to say I personally would recommend Earthquake here. Just deal with the flying types and grass types another way, basically. Third set I'm going to show you guys is a little bit of a gimmick set. Not one I would personally run, but I thought it was funny. We're going to go with a Ripen set. Yes, with the only moveset in this video that actually takes advantage of berries. So you can run Sub, Giga Drain, Dragon Pulse, and Leech Seed. The reason I want to run these is because Sub will let you get down to your Pataya berry safely. With the Ripen ability, it will double the effectiveness of the berry. The reason I'm deciding to go for a little bit of speed investment here is for base 35s, so namely Toxapex, which I mentioned earlier. It means that you can get behind a Sub without it going for Toxic, or maybe getting a Skull Burn. It's also very nice because having that HP stat means that you don't need full HP investment to be able to have 100 HP subs. The reason that's important is because it doesn't get broken by Seismic Toss or Nightshade. So a very nice little quality to have there about this thing. So the last move there, I've gone with Leech Seed just because I feel like it could come in handy against stuff like Toxapex, where possibly they'll be going for Haze, they'll be getting rid of your boosts, or, you know, it's something that you can't necessarily wear down very easy, like a Steel type, and you just want to kind of sub-stall for a bit and get it low. That's one way of doing it. The other way is to actually swap that out for Recycle. So you could get your berry back and just keep boosting up and up and up. The only problem I have with that is that you're still kind of vulnerable. You're still left at a low HP stat in order to activate the Bataya berry. So unless you can get that back with Giga Drain, it still leaves you fairly vulnerable. So I don't know, I would personally go for the Leech Seed there just for certain circumstances. Like if you're going for the Bataya berry boost, just don't use Leech Seed, because obviously it boosts your HP up and therefore you don't get the berry. But I personally feel like there are certain times where it can be useful, and hence that's why it's my choice. Next set I'm going to show you guys is a defensive set. Now for this particular one I've got Thick Fat and Light Clay with the Reflect and Light screen. You can either run Recover or Leech Seed for your recovery. I would personally go for Recover for the safer option, but Leech Seed is nice for bulky stuff and wearing it down at the same time as recovering, right? Dragon Pulse I've chosen as the last move there because I don't like the idea of not being able to touch other grass types. But you could easily swap it out for Giga Drain if you feel like you need that extra recovery there. And although I've chosen a screen set here, you could very well swap out the screens. You could put lefties on this thing, you could go with, say, Dragon Pulse, Giga Drain, Leech Seed and Protect. That'd be a very respectable defensive set. So, not the most exciting way to run Appletun, but it is very effective. It has good bulk. Even with not the greatest defensive stats, that HP stat really pads them out and lets you take some hits very well. Final set I'm going to show you guys, and this is actually my personal favourite set. This is an Assault Vest set with the Thick Fat once again, obviously to sponge those fire and maybe ice hits. This particular set runs the Quiet Nature, which is plus special attack minus speed. That basically means that you don't lower your attack stat because I've chosen Earthquake as the coverage move there. So you got Giga Drain, Apple Acid and Dragon Pulse as your stab moves. So you do some nice damage with those and also lower their special D with Apple Acid, which basically means you're going to force some switches and also, if they choose to stay in, do more damage. Earthquake is there just for fire and steel types and poison types in particular. So I don't expect you to do too much damage without the investment. But if they think they're safe staying in there, they might try and set up or something. You can definitely cause some massive damage there with the Quake if needs be. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been my guide to Appletun. I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. My name is Tommy, and I will see you all next time.